mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. It's alive! It's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremony, Sam, and I am joined, as always, by Dan from Bleeding Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
When we get back, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to buy you a bathtub.
Thanks. Hi everyone. We are back. We were missing in action last week.
Yeah, MIA.
Gone. But what you get your finger guns out for?
I'm going to put them away now.
Yeah. Don't bring your finger guns out.
I've disgusted myself.
Oh, that's what happens when you're being a week away. That brings the finger guns out, apparently.
The shame. Where's Hannah Waddington when you need her?
Oh my gosh, I need a bell. Just to ring the bell. Yes, we are back. We're back again with a new episode. It's interesting. I'm actually quite intrigued. I'm actually quite interested to see where this conversation goes, because we've literally just had to stop ourselves 2 minutes ago because we nearly did the episode without pressing record.
Yes, correct.
So I've got a feeling this one's going to be an interesting one. So I'm going to do the disclaimer and then we're going to get into Ghost Ship. So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on our socials. Or, if you want to, you can join the Nerdy Up North Discord. Or, the comments section, where we have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom, so let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of her nerdism.
Don't be a dick.
What she said, or what someone said to her.
The gentleman that came up to the stall at HorrorCon, I am so sorry. I was so stressed because they didn't tell us anybody had come in, and I hadn't had a chance to finish setting up the store. I hadn't even turned the card machine on, right? And people were coming up to the store, which was fantastic. But like, I was so disheveled. And then when you came up and you said, "Oh, don't be a dick. I love your podcast. Sammy's really funny," and I was just kind of taken aback. And I don't even know if I said anything. I was just like, "Oh yeah, thank you." So I do apologise, and I really did appreciate it. And thank you very much for listening, and thank you for coming and saying hi. I just don't want you to go away thinking I'm a complete loon, and I wasn't taking anything in because
she's not.
No, well,
you know, the finger guns didn't help. They didn't help.
Not really pleading my own case there, am I? But you know what I mean. I just want to say thank you very much. I did appreciate
it's so sweet.
it.
It's so sweet. And I am gutted I didn't go. But I did the sensible adult thing.
Sorry.
Damn being a bloody adult. Right, let's do this. Ghost Ship is the 2002 supernatural horror directed by Steve Beck from a screenplay by Mark Hanlon and George Pogue. It plot follows a marine salvage crew in the Bering Sea who discover a mysterious ocean liner that disappeared in 1962 and stars an assembled cast of Gabriel Byrne, Julian Margulies, Ron Eldred, Desmond Harrington, Isaiah Washington, Alexander Demetrius, and Carl fucking Urban. Some ships never return, but they will tonight as Monsters Up North opens a new monster file with Ghost Ship.
Not to be confused with the film of the 50s or 60s, because I know there was.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Tell me about it, because when I was Googling, that one kept coming up. I was like, no, that's not the one I wanted. This movie was very easy to get a hold of.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Thanks, Netflix. Well, what an interesting movie. Damn it. Ow. What a great way to start. What a great way to start. Sorry. Yeah, what an interesting movie with some choices that were made.
There was a lot of choices. I mean, really, if you look into this movie, Juliana was pitched a completely different movie, which is why she
Really?
signed on. Yeah, she was pitched a psychological thriller based on the fact that the whole crew would be they'd find the salvage, and they would
Hmm.
be literally their greed would be what killed them, because they'd literally knock each other off until the last person was standing. And it was more of a psychological, what would you do in that situation, kind of thing. And by the time she'd flown out to do the table readings and she'd signed on the dotted line and everything was good to
Oh.
production, they'd completely rewritten the script, and we have what we have now. So
Well,
she
Julia
was strong.
Margulies, you're not the worst thing that happened in this movie.
No, but I mean, she was coming off the back of ER. So was Ron Eldard. The pair of them
Hmm.
had been in ER, and they were dating at the time as well. They'd been dating for 12 years. So
Ron.
all the time when she was with George Clooney in ER, her and Ron were actually still together, even though
Oh.
they dated in ER as well. So they had an on-screen, off-screen relationship on ER, because he was the ambulance driver and she was the doctor. And then she went off with George because there was that whole thing, will they, won't they? But they were dated up until about 2003, 2004. So this film, they were actually still dating when they were together for this one. But I had a huge crush on Ron Eldard.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my God,
babyface,
no.
babyface. Him and Carl were the reasons why I love this film. I
I
think,
get I get the Carl Urban thing. I
yeah.
do. Ponytail and everything. You weren't lying about the ponytail. He
No.
is the guy from Drop Dead Fred, right? Yeah?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's got one of those faces, and when he laughs it, I just like, ugh, ick. But not as big as ick as Isaiah Washington, so hey.
Wins the ick fest in this movie.
Yeah,
If you don't
absolutely.
know who Isaiah Washington is, if you know what Grey's Anatomy is, which if you don't, have you been under a rock? He
Even I've
he
watched it.
yeah, he played Burke,
Burke.
Burke,
Yeah.
yeah. Name by
He
name.
plays a Burke.
Yeah, he played Christina's love interest. He was one of the top heart surgeons, all that sort of gumph, and he controversially made some terrible comments, a very homophobic one towards one of the other cast members, which in
George.
then George left or got written out. We're still not 100% sure what happened there. And then Isaiah was left with no punishment for his nonsense, so people just decided they hated him. But at that point,
I think Shonda Rhimes eventually got rid of him
yeah,
because of the
yeah,
backlash of that.
yeah, I think that caused her more grief than she realized it would. But
Hmm.
he, I think, yeah, because Grey's Anatomy didn't start until what are we 20 21 years. I think they've been going 20 years, so
Shut
it would be 2004, 2005 they started. So he got Grey's Anatomy just after he finished Ghost Ship. So
it was such a shame because Burke was a great character, and but to know that Isaiah is a piece of shit
mm,
was a bit sad. Oh God, when did Grace start?
I'm sure
2005.
there you go, it's 20 years, yeah.
Jesus
And I have
Christ.
to say, what the dog shit is going on now. Don't even
Hey,
do it. Don't do it. It's
you want to be a completionist, you've got to
I
sit
have
and watch
to.
it.
My life. It mucks up my watching
Your
list of
equilibrium
my.
in your
I
head.
can't, because I can't leave things I haven't watched on my watch list.
She'd
So
hate to live in my house.
I just can't do it. But yeah, it's so I have to keep going with it. But yeah, utter nonsense. I mean, you look at the way Grey. Oh no, we're not doing Grey's Dan. Get off your soapbox. We're talking about Ghost Ship. Anyway, so he plays Greer. He plays Greer in Ghost Ship, and he plays what I would call he's the straight man, the sensible guy.
Yeah, he's the one who, when he says we have to do this to the Coast Guard, and
Mm,
Gabriel Byrne's character's like, no, we fucking don't.
yeah,
Um, I was, to be honest, the casting is great. It's not. I know Isaiah's not the best person, but it's not the worst casting in the world. Ugh, I just wish that Gabriel Byrne went with Not his accent.
Did he have his accent in The Usual Suspects?
No, he did not.
So you think that kind of accent?
Yeah. He's Irish, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it was too thick.
Do you
And
think?
it was, I thought so. And I thought, well, you're part Irish. I'm only 33%.
I think my problem is I've always been good with accents. I can pretty much fathom what people are saying and not need subtitles unless they are speaking something completely different, like a language
Well,
I'm familiar with. Accents
yeah.
don't really have issues with.
No, I
The
found it
power.
too. I found it too thick. No, I'm really good with Scottish accents, and I do believe that is down to my, my Scottish heritage. I am 52% Scottish, um, even though I've lived in the northeast of England my whole life. And I should be more used to really thick accents because I would class a Geordie accent as quite a thick accent where people can struggle to understand. And I've had Southerners who can't quite understand certain words that I say, even though mine's quite toned down.
When my friend Leslie goes off on one, when she gets, we call it furious, when she goes off on a furious rant, trust me, it takes me a second to get there. I am about, I don't know, about 2 seconds behind everything she's saying because she goes so quickly. I'm like on a lag, but I get there in the end. But that it comes like one kind of tonal.
Lots of white
dot.
eyes.
Yeah, and she doesn't listen to this, so she'll never know.
That's
Um,
so funny.
do not screen grab that and put that on the page, Chris.
Do not. Do
I
not.
will. I will hunt you
Leave
down.
the arguments out of it. I did find it amusing when he did call us the Geordie sounding Mackham on
Yeah,
your post the other week.
I'm not wrong though, am I?
No, you're not.
No.
You're not at all. But yeah, I found it quite thick for me, and I
Yeah.
did struggle with it just a little bit, but it wasn't the worst. I love Gabriel Byrne, Stigmata. Oh my God, yeah. I don't know what it is, but I do have it's so weird. I have quite a thing for older men, but my
Oh,
husband's 2 years younger than me. Figure that one out. And I don't have daddy issues.
so she says.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with this film, the dynamic, they got it right though, because when you look at the crew of Epps, oh God, I'm gonna have to flip between their names and their character
That's what,
names because I keep forgetting who's.
yeah,
So Munda, Dodge, Epps, Murphy, Greer, and I've forgotten the guy who's
Santos.
Santos, right? When you look at the core guys from that, they do have a really good rapport. And you believe that they've been on a boat in
And
isolation together for a long time and that they are really good friends.
I would have gotten that from the table scene alone at the beginning. I
Hmm.
didn't need the other part where it's like, don't do it. Why are you doing this? Why'd you always make my life so hell, Maureen? And then she comes up and like, I did it anyway. And it's like, I could have gotten the dynamic from all of them just on that table scene.
Well, you know what that was for? That
Mhm.
was the Robert Zemeckis of it all. Because Joel Silver and
Ah,
Robert Zemeckis produced this movie.
did not know that.
So we are talking royalty produce,
Movie royalty.
yeah, Robert Zemeckis, for those of you who don't know, again, shame, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Joel Silver has done most of the Dark Castles as well, but I mean his list is huge. Joel's is
Oh,
um they wanted to bring a Dark Castle Entertainment original movie because I know
we have.
we've done the two Dark Castles that they remade. So we've done House on Haunted Hill and we have done 13 Ghosts, which were both
Yes.
original movies that they redid under the Dark Castle banner, which is what this movie is from. It's under the Dark Castle banner, but it's the first original movie that they ever did. And
Yeah,
it was
it
the
was.
last movie that Dark
Yeah.
Castle ever did. So,
Oh, yeah. Even though, as of 2016, they have listed as one of the best opening in movie history.
honest to God, this movie, for the amount of hate it gets as a whole, the amount of respect the first opening minute and a half gets, 2 minutes, it's on every best ever list.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, when you look at it, Howard Berger. It's Howard doing what he does best. It's Howard the amount of miniatures they used on this, the
Yeah.
amount of practical stuff that they used on this, because when they were talking to one of the producers, he was basically saying that they would, as it was 2002, CGI was coming into more of a mainstream kind of usage within films. But he said, this is not what this film is about. We have the option to use it, and we want to use it to enhance the story, but we don't want to use it for the sake of using it. So if we could use a model of the boat, we're going to use a model of the boat. If we're going to do a miniature, we're going to do a miniature. We want all the practical effects done as best as we can. So the opening scene is all done practically. There is only one piece of
That's
CGI, like the odd tiny little tweak with CGI on it, but that's it.
well,
So
that would have made William Castle's heart sing.
mhm.
Because we all know he loved practical, he loved to spook people, so it would have made his heart sing. Now, I don't want to sit and slate this movie, but I do have a few issues with it, and there's some
Everybody does.
things
You wouldn't be
I
the first.
I
So.
know I don't want to sit there and slate it completely though. But I just the idea of it because I do like a good ghost story. Like The Changeling is one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love it, and if we could do that one day, I would be so happy because it's spooky, it's thriller, it's like detective work, and it's got some of the most spookiest, scary scenes in movies, like the Red Ball.
Yeah.
If you know the Changeling, you know the same with the Red Ball. That's kind of pretty spooky. And I just wish they kind of went. If it was going to be, if they kept the story the way it was, then change the visuals up a bit. Have actual ghosts in there as opposed to people. Have like things like where Julian Margulies sees the little girl in the pool. Have it like kind of in and out, like not just a person sitting there. Have just different effects on it. I just wish they kind of took a little bit more detail with it because the plot isn't too bad.
The plot itself the flashback scene is amazing that
Yeah,
you get later on, which is all the exposition you need for the entire movie.
you honestly just watch that.
Brilliant. That sums up the whole film.
It's
But
so good.
everything in this movie is intentional.
Hmm.
Like the opening scene to set the scene, the getting them where they need to get them, to the exposition that then
Hmm.
follows, to then the final scene. It's very well laid out, thought out, but it's how it's executed that can it ultimately
Yeah,
um leads to its downfall, shall we say.
yeah. No, you're right. Because the idea that it's there, it's just piss poorly executed. Um, I did have a screaming fit when Desmond Harrington came on. I was like, "Oh my God, it's Quinn! It's Quinn from Dexter and the dodgy cop from Brooklyn Nine-Nine." Because I've never seen him in anything else since.
He was in The Hole, wasn't he, with Thora Birch?
Fuck yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I
that's
forget all about that.
that's always my frame of reference for Desmond. Then it goes to Dexter, but like because
Oh no, he's always Quinn.
he dated Debs, didn't he? That's
Yeah.
sort of like but yeah, the um the whole where she locks him down there with Lawrence. We've got to give him credit because he was in a movie with Lawrence Fox. So.
Hey. Blech.
So
Yeah. I love that movie. I mean, I was a huge Thora Birch fan. I think we've talked about this before.
yeah, we have the whole
Yeah.
ghost world thing. But yeah, the casting as well for the time. When you look at it with today's eyes, you're like, geez, that's a hell of a cast list. But I don't think at the time
It would have been.
it wasn't as wow. Because I mean,
No.
Desmond, I don't think the whole hadn't been around that done then.
The
Uh,
whole was almost indie-ish. It wasn't like
yeah, because it was
a
British film, wasn't it?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, I think it might have been classed as indie. I could be completely wrong on that, but it just didn't feel like everyone knew it or everyone knows about it.
I think the biggest expense for the actors that were in this movie was Gabriel Byrne,
Yeah.
and then Julianne Julianne, and Ron.
Juliana Margulies.
Yeah, so those two, because they come off the back of ER. So you had that, and for those of you who have never watched ER, in the late 90s, early 2000s, ER was the biggest television program ever to have existed in time and space at that point in time. And it was written by, and some people still don't believe this, Michael Crichton, who wrote Jurassic Park.
It's a true story. I know. It's a true story. And get this, I watched it. I used to watch it on a Tuesday night because it used to air, I think maybe Sunday night.
On a
Used to
Channel
tape
4,
it.
yeah.
Used to tape it. And when I used to come back from the town on a Tuesday night, I used to sit with my sister and we watched ER. I fucking loved it. And that's the reason why we jumped into sorry to go back to Grey's Anatomy, but that's the reason we jumped into Grey's Anatomy, because it was another program very similar to that. That program cost me a lot of time, because bearing in mind, I watched that as it was happening. This is not reruns. This is literally as it is happening. And Denny's death marked me for a whole week. I couldn't get out of bed. I was so depressed. I was so sad.
I actually found out recently, though, that I am a massive The Pit fan. So if anybody gets HBO and they get to see it, I think it's Max. It's on Max. The Pit is one of the most ingenious, well-written,
I will watch it,
superb TV programs, I can safely say, that has existed in my lifetime. I don't give that kind of praise out for a TV program ever. And it's Michael Crichton's wife is now suing Noah Wiley, who was in ER.
Why?
Because she's saying that he ripped off ER. This is nothing. It is absolutely nothing like ER. Not one little bit.
You can say that about Grey's Anatomy. You can say that about Chicago Med.
It's because it's him. It's because it's him,
It's
and
him.
She's irrelevant at the moment, or she's running out of money. It seems very like a desperate.
Jurassic Park money? You run out of Jurassic Park money?
Well, if they signed them, if he never took any royalty rights for merchandising, then yeah, he could run out of money.
Shit.
You know, people don't think that. They think that just because he wrote the book that he's going to end up with all this money. Well, if he signed the book over to the studio takes all the merchandising money.
Yeah.
He might not have even taken a percentage of that in the deal.
So you need to talk to George Lucas, because that guy's got it locked right down.
If anybody ever sells their story to a movie studio or a TV studio, always take the option of a small amount and either a cut of the box office or a cut of the royalties from the merchandising. Please do that. Just do it.
We know this. We know. I would say when it comes down to movies, we know this because Bela Lugosi suffered massively because he didn't take the cuts that he should have. When there's certain people like Marlon Brando who knew exactly what he was doing, and he did eventually after a lawsuit. But he did because he knows that's where the money is.
Yep.
Some people take a cut. Some people take a cut of the profits.
Yeah,
the cut of the profits will always make you the money.
Yes. But yeah, it's kind of really weird the way this film, the way it was even considered to be casted, because Gabriel Byrne wasn't the first choice.
He was not, no.
And I cannot see how the other choice would have worked.
I can in a way, but it would have been a very different character. It would have been he would have been angry. He would have been Scottish.
Yeah.
And you probably wouldn't have been able to understand him either, because he was a Scottish man. I can't remember what his name is now. It's Hannibal Lecter.
It's not the guy that does the stars. It's the guy that was Hannibal Lecter in Mindhunter. It was Brian Cox.
Brian Cox, that's right.
And did you know? I found this out recently. Brian Cox is the voice of America's McDonald's. We have Dexter Fletcher. Brian Cox does the American McDonald's. So just useless piece of information for you there.
Wow. Okay, that's not useless. he is Scottish. He's from Dundee, so I think we would have gotten that, and he would have been angrier, and he probably would have been, because I think Gabriel Byrne had a bit of heart to him. Like his crew was
soft. He's quite soft, Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah. Oh yeah. His crew was important to him, especially when what do you call him? The guy.
Santos.
What? Yeah, no. What the hell is Jack? Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
Jack
When
Ferryman.
Jack comes to the table and he's like, "Can I speak to yous?" And he's like, "Well, whatever you got to say, you can say in front of all these.
Yeah.
This is my crew, this is my family." And I really wish they kind of give us a bit more with his character with Maureen,
Mm.
because she said, "I've got a third of his business." There's a reason she has a third of his business. Why does she have a third of his business? We'll never fucking know.
Well, she kind of alludes to the fact that she's been with him for a long time and she's been like his daughter. He never had kids, so he treated her like his daughter.
That's kind of the impression I got.
Yeah, it's kind of alluded to in the middle. There's a sort of bit of conversation that takes place because I think Jack does question. He does question if they're sleeping together or something like that. There's like a something that's said, and I can't remember. And she's like, "No, that's not the
No,
case."
no, and definitely Dodge and
Munda.
Munda are definitely her brothers.
Ah,
They are the wind up merchant brother. I'm sorry, but I gotta give Carl Urban his props in this movie. He did his fucking best. It was actually really good performance.
the two of them, like I say, it's all there. I think a lot of the failure to this is the way the dialogue is written.
Oh my god, yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily what happens in the film.
Mm-mm.
It's the dialogue. Maybe the way it's edited, I don't know. Towards the end, the very not the very end scene, but
Mhm.
the end, the lead to the end is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was unneeded, but it made sense in the scheme of the film.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. I just feel like whoever wrote it feels like they got like AI to write it. And I know it wouldn't have been a thing back then, but like it feels like they got a bot to write the script in places. Like,
And I don't know how the director could have been happy with the way some of the dialogue was delivered, because
mm,
it's very static. It's almost like GCSE drama,
yeah,
especially coming from Isaiah Washington. Now, I know that we don't like him, but when you see him play Burke, he is an actor's actor. Like you can
hmm
tell, you feel like there's something behind that, because the performance that he gives is good.
yeah.
It fits in with the show.
Mhm.
He clearly knows his lines. He's not, stuttering or anything like that. In this, it's almost like, you want me to go there. You want me to move over there.
hmm
He's so wooden.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
like it.
very. I feel like maybe it was his first time working with green screen because there is an element of green screen to this film.
Yeah.
I think it might have just not been his bag. He might have been in the same boot as in the same camp as Juliana, with the respect that he might have been sold a totally different film.
I
Also,
really feel like she's not terrible in this movie by any chance, and I don't think Julianne Margulies is a terrible actress. There's some lines that I was like, stop, ew. But her physical acting was brilliant. She got flung around all over the place in some parts, um, dropped on her back and all sorts. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with that.
no, she made a good like final girl, I think, in the respect of that she was not your typical bimbo final girl that was traditionally around in that era of time. Like 2002 was when the
Where
slashers
are we in
were coming back,
movies?
where
Yeah.
slashers were coming back again. Because Scream had come in the mid 90s, Scream had brought back that massive resurgence of
Oh,
stuff.
good Christ. Queen of the Damned.
Yeah, so you and the thing was as well, the reason Brian Cox didn't take the job or backed out at the last minute is because he went on to do The Ring with Naomi Watts. So The Ring was the same year, it was 2002. So you had all these
Hey,
you had all
this is
these strange films cropping up that weren't really related, that was all in the horror genre, but there was no specific like, oh yeah, specifically this was
it's
the era of the slasher or this was the era of the
No, you're absolutely right. I was just about to say it's such a mixed bag. So
yeah.
you've got 28 Days Later, followed by Queen of the Damned and Ghost Shaped, Carrie, Eight-Legged Freaks, Mothman Prophecy, Halloween Resurrection, and then
Mhm.
jo- you've got you've got Vampires Immortus with bloody Bon Jovi. You got Blade 2, Hellraiser. I could really go on here. Shark Attack 3, Killer Bees, The Loch Ness. Dharma. Actually, that is a very good film.
That's the
Jeremy Renner.
yeah, the Jeremy Renner drama, yeah.
Jeremy Renner if you don't want a sensationalized version of Dharma and you want to kind of have an idea of Dharma, if you don't want to watch the documentaries because they're all pretty fucking graphic, watch this. He's Jeremy Renner is absolutely brilliant. But then you've got like the Viper, Dark Water. It's Dog Soldiers. Like it's such a mixed bag of everything.
It's pretty much let's test the water and see what sticks. It feels like, you know, like we'll test the water, we'll see
Chuck
what
a penny
works.
in and see where it lands.
Yeah, and that's great because it covered something for everybody. And I do still I don't know why I like this film because there really isn't a reason to overly like this film. I just think it was when I was watching movies, this was just the film that hit at the time, and I
get that.
I think the thing is with this movie, the opening scene is exactly what no one had seen. Nothing like that had ever been pulled off. Firstly, so at the beginning of a film, you were never, you know, that I can't recall at the time prior to that in movie history, and I'm sure there is. I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying
Don't come from us, Michael.
As of this conversation, I can't necessarily say off the top of my head that I can remember another film that sets you up in the way that this movie does, with such a sense of like calm and to carnage in less than 2 minutes.
It's beautiful,
and it's so well done. It is so well done.
It's absolutely stunning. And if we are looking just solely at the costuming, holy shit, that red dress that singer is wearing is absolutely breathtaking. It's an Italian cruise line, yet she is singing in French.
No, she's singing Italian.
Is she singing in Italian? I was like, I thought I could hear French words, and I was like,
she didn't know English. She didn't know English at all. She knew very few words, and it ended up that they had to get a translator on set to get her. Hence why she only speaks Italian in the film. They had to get a translator to explain to her when the director was telling her what she needed to do. But she had. Did you read the bit about what happened to her on a TV show?
Hold on. Is this the professional?
Francesca
Rettadini.
Yeah, Rettadini.
Yeah, I actually have it written down. In 2012, she boarded the Costa Concordia.
Yep.
To film Professional Lockmaker,
which was like a kind of like Project Runway-ish type.
I am absolutely butchering the first word on that, by the way, because it is not in English. Where the ship began to sink. Is that the one?
Yeah, she was actually in a real boat sinking thing.
Yeah, I actually have the full transcript here. So when the ship began to sink, she was in the dining hall with the show's contestants. 2 days after the incident, she said in an interview, "I was frozen. We all pushed towards the exit like a flock of sheep. The more the ship tilted, the harder we tried to brace our feet against the incline, which itself made no sense, but we were panicking." In a later interview in January 26, she said, "I was lucky. I was on the ship to work. We were the luckiest because we were in the dining hall when it all happened, and the luckiest because when we went onto deck 3, the one closest to the stern, therefore the furthest from the water. So while we ate dinner, the ship sort of jumped backwards. We all fell. The tables overturned. There was blood almost everywhere because we cut ourselves with the crockery. We went out on the deck and they immediately let us down to the lifeboats." She further went on to explain no staff were present during the incident and instead were told the situation was under control. When asked about the parallels of the shipwreck with this film, she said, "The film was only fiction. Tonight was a tragic reality. The sinking of the Costa Concordia killed 27 passengers plus 6 people on shore." Jesus Christ.
So it's another, you know, like you said last week with the crow, last episode with the crow.
Last week.
Yeah. Life imitating art, imitating life, imitating art. Yeah, and it's a 10-year gap between when that happened and when the film was shot. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a very once in a lifetime-y situation. It's still creepy.
Yeah, Do you know what? I don't know why. And I think this is probably through my fascination of Titanic. Ships do fascinate me.
Mm.
Like the stories behind them, the incidents that happen with them. The actually, Gabriel Byrne talks a couple about them in the movie, The Mary Celeste.
Yeah.
Um, so fascinating, but it all stems from my interest of Titanic. Like I can go down some really odd rabbit holes. I actually watched a documentary on Bank Holiday Monday of after Titanic when this it's the people, it was in Nova Scotia, um depart like people who were part of the funeral, like had to basically bury these people, bury these like people from the water and who didn't survive and that they managed to bring to shore. Do you know who the actual mortician was who carried out this whole thing of all these bodies? And it was an absolute mission of what he did. It was a miracle that he actually pulled it off. He was called Jon Snow.
This one knew everything.
He did. It was such a good documentary, and it was so interesting how they managed to get from here to here, and the massive part that they played, and the huge mass grave that they have for everyone, and the dignity that they give to every single person because they didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
These people came from all over the place, and they weren't necessarily from Nova Scotia in Canada, so they give them dignified headstones because Jon Snow believed that every person should have a marker to remember them by, regardless if we don't know who they are. It
Yeah.
was, and there's some people who were actually claimed, and they were given like proper markings, but it was brilliant documentary. Sorry, I went off on tangent then.
All right. Um, water to everybody that you should respect it.
Oh
As
yeah,
as someone who has been known to surf in her younger days, yes, I
this
know.
is, you are so full of
Used.
surprises.
Um, used to spend a lot of time down in Cornwall in Newquay and do a lot of surfing. And
We don't get that luxury here.
I look like a
We
freaking
have.
blueberry in my wetsuit, so let's just not go there. It's not the most flattering kind of get up. That water is cold,
Uh,
but respect it and know when the lifeguards tell you don't go out there. Don't go out there. You don't know
don't
better. You do not know
no.
better. They look at that water every day. They can tell things that are going to happen before you even know. Always respect the fact. And if you get caught in a riptide, just starfish and
Yeah,
float. That's all
float.
you can do. You
Yeah,
can't do. You can't fight it. You'll knacker yourself out.
no.
You'll exhaustion and you drown. So that's my little piece of advice. But yeah, the sea itself, people have always said it's a cruel mistress. It is.
It is. There's no there's you will not catch me in it. That's for fucking sure. I am an ex swimmer. I once, when Sunderland had a team, I once swam for their team for a very short period of time before I packed it all in. But because my mother didn't want us to be scared of water, just like she didn't want me to scared of dogs, she didn't want me to scared of water. And she got me into swimming. Well, again, hyperfixation. And I got really obsessed with it. And I took it too far. And then I got bored and then I dropped out and I did something else. But it took a long time to get there. I trained constantly. I have some of the greatest swimming muscles in my leg that will never ever go away. I love them. But you will not catch me in the sea. I have actually had a really scary incident in not sea, but and I don't like lakes either. I don't like water that you cannot see like the bottom of. We were in Paris. We were in we were going to Disneyland. We were the summer it opened, and we would remember Key Camp. You don't remember Key Camp? It was like glamping in the 90s, and
Right.
that's the best way to describe it. But and there was we were in a place in Paris, and we were staying there, and we stayed in another place, and I got a stone in my leg. And because we didn't, yeah, I got tripped over by a German kid, and I just got a stone in my leg. And because we didn't have insurance, I just had to strap it up and walk around. So we got this boat in this lake in the second place we were at, and I had to just sit on the boat because I couldn't get my knee wet. I couldn't get in the water. But my 2-year-old sister with floaties was with me, and my cousin was with us. and he was pissing around, and the boat went over, and we all went under. Now, I know from my swimming day, you go under the boat. But there was no reason to do that. It was just a lake, but there was reeds everywhere, and they freaked me out something badly. And when I kind of come up from the water, my sister was nowhere to be seen. Nowhere. I thought for half an hour my sister was dead. And I sat on this like bank front and just was like, how do I explain to my parents that she's gone? Like, she was not there. If I had just turned around, I would have seen that she was sitting right behind me, playing in the sand, and had been there the whole time because I forgot she had floaties on and she just went ashore. Awful. Hate the water. Love swimming pools, hate anything else.
Yeah.
Moral of the story. There you go.
The
Have that
water.
one.
It's an underused commodity in horror films, in my opinion. And I'm not talking about Sharknado.
Mm,
And I'm not talking about Jaws. I'm not talking about movies where there is something in the water.
yeah.
I'm talking about the fact that the water itself has the power to do so much damage. It's the
It can,
premise of that I kind of like the idea of as well in this movie, because when they set up after the initial scene, which we will talk about in a minute, they do the setup with them on the tugging this piece of crap into port so they can claim the money back on it, and it's taken in too much water and they've got to go in, and it's a shit exposition to set up these guys.
But it explains it does explain what they do. I feel like we could have had that at the table scene.
Yeah. The majority of that was filmed on sets that they made, and then it had CGI on it, but some of the shots were filmed of a real tug out in the water, and then they added the CGI boat later, the one that they were pulling. A lot of they made a 1 in 10 scale model of the tugboat, which is when they're doing a lot of the aerial shots. The aerial shots are true shots that were done by helicopters, and things like that, and cranes and all sorts of things like that. But they were purely for the CGI to replicate the shot for when they put the not a CGI boat, but when they put in the miniatures to match the miniatures up, they used exactly the same shots that they'd used previously to match up how these would look with the miniatures. So the actual miniature Antonia Graza was 60 foot long, the miniature.
Oh, okay.
It was a 1 in 10 of the actual cruise liner that you see. So all the exterior shots of the clean boat and the 50 years later boat, it's the same one. They just painted one side really bad and old and decrepit, and the other side was brand spanking new. Yeah.
White.
I think it's the Antonia.
You're right.
Graza. So, yeah.
The MS. Ms. Antonia Graza. Mind blow though. Katie Harwood. Emily Browning.
Yeah. Dead wife.
Dead wife herself. Yeah. The minute you cannot not tell with that face. She's not changed.
I think it's one of the first movies she did. Yeah, I mean, she went on to be in so many things. I mean, if you've ever seen Neil Gaiman, Garmin aside, American Gods is always somewhere. It's somewhere. It's the only graphic novel I ever buy. Well, used to buy now, but and I've read all the books. I loved the TV series, even though I know it butchered it a little bit.
I didn't mind it, and this is something I never read. I've read the book now.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it. I loved, what do you call him?
Mad Sweeney.
Oh, wait, come on. It's Pablo Schreiber. Fucking hell. I could like him in anything. That man is beautiful. Beautiful.
Even as Scorn Stash, he won me over, but...
Oh, 100%.
Sweeney, so.
100%. He's also in one of the greatest storylines in Law & Order SVU with Liv, who plays a complete and utter psycho, but he does it so well.
He's in Always Sunny as well, isn't he?
Yeah, for 2 seconds. He's great. He's in the Christmas special.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he's like, I don't fucking want it.
But yeah,
If you don't know who Pablo Schleifer is, it's Liv Schleifer's half brother.
yeah, he plays Pornstache in Orange is the New Black, and he's Mad Sweeney in American Gods. But he refers to Emily Browning as dead wife because
Dead
she
wife.
is technically dead,
He
and she's
stole
the
his
wife.
coin.
But yeah, so she's always like in my house we call her dead wife.
It was Ian McShane I was thinking of.
Wednesday. No, we only call him Wednesday now because obviously that's his name.
Well, he's Lovejoy to us.
He's Lovejoy, but he's Wednesday because he's Odin, isn't he? So
yeah, I didn't get it though.
Whoa, and
didn't get it.
Yeah, Odin's.
Yeah, I should know. Wednesday is Odin's name.
Yeah,
I should have given it away. When he started talking to Astara, which is spring, I was in Easter. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I got shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I got shocked. This is me though.
I did like the fact that they utilized Mad Sweeney more, but they did him a dirty in the TV show.
We never watched the second series because we were kind of waiting for a War of the Gods that was never going to happen, and it was just drawing it out too long, and it was like
season 3 was just unfortunate. I keep meaning to go back and rewatch it because I did enjoy it. I very much enjoyed the guys they had to cast, even the guy from Hollyoaks.
Ricky Whiteley.
That's it. Who ended up playing the main character, which is names escape me because I've got
Moon something.
Yeah, Moon Knight. No, that's
Moon. Yeah, that's the other one.
That's Oscar Isaacs, who's played 47 characters in the Marvel franchise. Way.
Sorry.
Cameos.
I'm just going to turn him over that way so no one can see him. When I was recording the other day, he stood on here and just stared at us directly in my eye while I was talking, and I was like, I don't know what you want us to do. Yeah, he's just going to sit perch there for now. At least he's not bothering us or jumping on my knee for once. Shall we talk about the opening of this movie? Because
I know everybody wants us to.
Yeah. So just to set the scene, it's 1962. We're on board the Italian ocean liner, the MS Antonia Graza, and there's a dance taking place. There you go, scene set.
Well, this is traditional. When a transatlantic crossing's done, they have the captain's dinner. They have one at the beginning and the I was going to say the flight. That's wrong. The boat trip. They have one at the beginning and one at the end when they're nearing shore. So in theory, they were almost at the end of their journey. There would have only been a couple of days left at most for this. So traditionally, that's why they all dress up. The captain's dinner, everybody has to be black tie, suited and booted.
And fineries.
Yeah. So that's why everybody looks so stunning and well put together, because 2 reasons. Italy, because it is an Italian ship. Not everybody was Italian, but the clothing reflected a certain level of
sophistication.
Yes.
What I appreciated costume wise, not only did it fit the era, you knew exactly where you were. You could place this time period exactly compared with the costumes. I loved the cleanness of them, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but these were crisp. These were clean. This is exactly what you would expect from this sort of event, and I loved that detail in it. I am really, my thing at the moment is looking at costuming, and it's always makeup, but costuming's kind of getting us at the moment. So I was loving all of the outfits and all of the suits and the details in the suits, and they were beautiful.
Yeah, the uniforms and everything like that. Hence why the captain himself was dressed up.
He was suited and booted. He looked amazing.
Yeah, so you don't really get any clue as to what's really going on. You just see the scene, and the Francesca, I can't remember what her name is in the film, but the beautiful Italian lady singing on the microphone with her band, and you've got possibly about 80 people, 90 people dancing on this raised piece of platform outside on the front of the ship. And you get lulled into this sense of like, yeah, and the way that they do the beginning as well, they make it very 1950s, 60s lettering. It's got that kind of like really nice instrumental kind of theme as it builds. There's nothing nefarious. It doesn't
No.
give you, it's not done in a minor key, it's done in a major key. So you feel like there's this like uplifting sense to what you're, what you're going to see. You don't,
There's no impending doom there
yeah.
because the music is guiding you to be like, this is light, it's fluffy, we're having fun, the champagne's flowing, the singer's, singing. Yeah, there's no, it does lull you into a false sense of security because
Yeah.
shit is about to get real.
Yeah, pretty quick. Because you just see a hand out of nowhere come down and pull
Yeah.
a lever or something. It's something like that. Simple.
Pull the lever.
And then you just slowly watch the
The
I don't
sound
even
of
know
the
what this wire is for,
no,
why it's even there. I
but
think
it's the
it's
there.
not the anchor because an anchor would be on a chain. So
Well, that's it. It looked like a pulley kind of thing because it's
yeah.
strong enough. You got to think how strong that is. So it looked like something that would be used as like pulley material. But who cares? Because the noise that comes from that, I
And
love it.
this is where they wrote the most genius 2 minutes of scripting because nobody says a goddamn word, right? There is not one word uttered
No one's.
until Emily screams at the end.
There's not
Not
one.
one
Nope, no one screams. There's a little bit of
scream.
gurgling, but it's
Mm.
and there's a lot of.
And there's some and there's singing, obviously, but when you don't see her disappear, so you just
No.
presume she's part of the.
Yeah, that's to be honest, that didn't cross my mind until the very, very end, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, you weren't there.
I think it's one of those things where it just happens, and that's the thing they wanted. They wanted you to not realize what had happened, like they didn't know what had happened.
Hmm.
Um, you saw it happening, and your mind takes a second, just a split second, to process what you've just seen as it's ripped through. It's the plant.
Yeah.
I think it's the flowers. The flowers actually.
Yeah, they do. The flowers go first. You see the
Mm.
flowers kind of like whoosh,
So you're
and you're
like,
like,
oh,
shit.
and then you see everybody just stop, and then you see this wire with
And you can hear the faintest like
and the singing.
it's like
Yeah,
nobody wants to move.
because I think their brains are trying to
Frozen.
catch up with what had happened to them, like to try and this is trying to catch up with what's actually happened, because they do say sometimes that happens, like you have an injury, your brain can't quite quantify what it is. It knows it's painful, but it doesn't
But it
understand
doesn't
what's actually happened.
the
So you
level of
can't,
pain, yeah.
yeah, you can't really work it out. And it's, I think some of them can't because literally they have no spine. Well, they have a spine, but it's in many pieces.
The woman who was trying to pull her legs together.
Yeah, I mean,
Ouch.
they do say that once you've had been decapitated, like from a guillotine, you are still technically alive for so many seconds after.
Yeah.
So you're when you're in the basket and you looked up, you could still comprehend what had happened to you. You had no body. Because you don't, your brain doesn't instantly die from the.
It does not.
So,
This thing here can take a long time to not a long time, but it would feel like a long time.
yeah, so this is why
To
they played on that notion with this, whilst that took so long for
yeah.
everybody to slither in half,
I
cut in
love that
half.
noise. I love that
Yeah,
noise.
it's very similar to how they did the death of the guy in Final Destination 2. The one who gets garroted by the fence
Oh,
from the explosion.
oh yeah.
Now, it was filmed partly made, it was all practical dummies. It was practical technically, but when they were showing the odd people where bits were sliding off, what they did was they had a green screen and they had the actor dressed, and then they had a dummy part, and then they would split them at the same time, so they would be able to use
Oh,
parts, the part of the fall
yeah.
down of the real person, and then be able to manipulate it within the scene. They actually,
Oh,
this part was done by Howard Berger. This whole bit was done by Howard Berger, and we all
uh-huh.
from
Yeah.
B, obviously.
Um,
He, the he did some amazing work on this, and the majority of the bodies you see are dummies, but they don't focus on them enough for you to pay attention,
yeah.
because you're so still taken aback by what you're seeing because it's happened so quickly. All of this happens so quickly.
It's all just. Do you know? You mentioned that kind of that effect is used in Ghostbusters Afterlife when Igor Shandlin, who is it Egon Shandlin? Igor.
Oh no, the
Um,
the guy that built the
Holy
mine.
shit! I should know this. Um,
I know, Shanlon, I know you mean. Yeah.
Shandlin. Yeah. Well, yeah. When who plays him as well? It's
JJ Simmons, Jay Simmons.
Simon. Yes,
Yeah.
that's it. When he gets ripped in half, it's the same effect.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That kind of
Yeah.
like,
Is
oh,
they like using that element of practical and still, whilst the dummy legs are practical and the body's practical, the way that they split it, they do it in a CGI sense so that when you saw a copy of the bodies split, you'd see this blood just piss out of nowhere.
mm-hmm.
And then you see like, I think it's called bisection, isn't it? Where it goes across the body, bisection. So when it's bisected, it's cut in half. So when they're bisected by the wire that's literally ripped through everybody, but
Oh yeah.
gone over the head of Emily Browning at this point because she was too short.
She
She
was
was
too
after the
little.
captain. And as they wanted to make sure that the reason why the captain was got through where it went through on the captain where it did was because he was safeguarding her.
Oh right. So he kind of like hunched himself a little bit, which is
Yeah,
why
because
it didn't have, it got him where it did.
if you look at everybody else, it got them in the midsections.
Yeah.
It got them around sort of like the boob midsection area, anywhere from the belly button up to the boobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
It got him completely through the mouth.
Yeah.
It was because when you see originally before he stands back, you see him hunched over her to like because they were dancing. So he was dancing with her like hunched down. So he took the brunt of it through the face. And then he slowly stands up and as she sort of backs away, and then obviously you see his head
Yeah.
off.
It's impressive. Just to not lose any face with Ghostbusters fans, it's Ivor Shandlin.
There you go.
It's Ivor Shandor, for God's sake, Sam. I didn't want to come across as I don't know what I'm a fan. It's so impressive, this scene, that it does. If you've It's such a shame that it is in the lists that it appears in, because you see it if you don't watch the movie first like I did. I've seen this scene 1,000 times because it does come up in top lists of greatest opening movies or greatest movie openings.
Yeah.
And to know that it's all done practically, like,
Yeah.
kind of takes it up a notch for us. Like, I'm quite impressed by that.
I mean, obviously, people like the corridor crew have gone through it and they've tried to figure out where was green screen happening, where was CG happening, which bits were practical. And you can tell to a degree if you are an eagle-eyed person or if you've seen the film so many times, you tend to spot things a bit more and more. But the dance floor itself is raised. It's a raised platform that they're all on. Because when they do the end of the scene, where they're all dismembered and lying in various different positions, they had to have their bodies half poking out,
Yeah.
arms were coming up, things like that. So it was easy to still have a real hand, but obviously make it look like it wasn't attached to the body because they were all under this platform, and they were filming extremities and things still twitching and legs still moving and
Yeah, and yeah, that's and the noises, the noises,
but I think that is what does it for this bit. It goes from beautiful melodic singing and just this really nice like love boat sort of kind of like whole thing to then silence. And I love the fact that there was no screaming. I just really love the fact that it just went deathly silent, because in that situation, usually in movies you have carnage, you have people running left, right, center.
Hysteria.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they couldn't because they couldn't move, but it was still just that kind of sense of propriety because they were of that specific time frame in the 60s where it would have been indecent or rude to make a fuss.
It would have. It absolutely would have.
I feel like, it's
You
kind
you
of
don't want to be the scandal.
No,
So you keep quiet.
She screamed like a bitch. She did before she died. Before she was cut in half. I mean, you'd have every right to scream your tits off after that, but I think that was the choice that they made by doing that and just turning it into deathly silence, I think was
Yeah,
the best decision that film had.
absolutely. I think we should talk about Jack Ferryman.
Yes, clues in the name.
Yeah, didn't get it though. Not gonna lie.
I think they gloss over it really quickly when he's first
I'm
introduced.
just taken aback that it's Quinn.
Yeah,
So
I think the thing is you're quite enamored by the fact that you've got this dynamic. They've just salvaged this boat. They're all on a high in a bar, and he comes over and he's just like, "Oh, you a team? Blah blah blah. My name's Jack Ferryman. Blah 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 blah." And you completely gloss over it because you're being introduced to this new character who wants them to go and see this boat that he supposedly saw when he was flying his plane. So he knows it's out there. He knows it's a thing, and he throws down a photo because they laugh him off at first, and then he goes back for a second attempt and he shows them the photo, and you can see Murphy / Gabriel Byrne get really interested all of a sudden because you can see it's a big fucking boat. He doesn't know what it is. He knows it looks like a cruise liner, but he's not 100% sure.
no, but he does kind of explain his reasoning later on,
Mm.
and they do elaborate on it. And it's his love of mystery of ships.
Mm.
He has a feeling about this one.
Yeah.
I
Not
like
the
that.
feeling you should have had, mind, but yeah, he had a feeling.
You should have just gotten out when you had the chance.
Because they were all set to go home. They were all set at
Mm.
this point to go off with the money that they just made and have a bit of shore leave and just enjoy a bit of anything.
Time.
Yeah. And this is where Greer was supposed to go back and get married, and
That's right.
yeah, there was just they were setting the scene for them to have personal lives, but Epps, Dodge, and Munda made it very clear they don't really have one, nor does Murphy. Really, the only person who does is Greer and Santos with the love of his car that he likes to restore, and that's about
Yes.
it. But yeah, they gloss over his name so quickly. You don't really you don't pay any attention. And then they agreed to take him out on the tug to try and find this boat. Now, bearing in mind, the Bering Sea of all seas is the sea near Alaska.
It'd be card.
It'd be very fucking cold. It is where they the Bering Sea is, if you've ever seen Bering Sea gold, it's where you find a lot of the gold, and you see those TV shows with people sucking up gold off the bottom of the bed when they go diving and stuff like that. And oh, it's insane. The Bering Sea is a really, really strange place to go. But yeah, they go out into the middle of the sea to find this, and it's in international waters, which puts it in the fair game bracket, I think.
Yeah, because there's a moment where he says I should call this in, and he goes, "But we're in international waters. You don't have to do anything." And Jack does explain how they can get around it because of international waters. So yeah,
Yeah, maritime law is a weird.
that's what he says.
Yeah.
Maritime law says we have to do this, and he goes, "Yes, but we are X, Y." He explains it in
Yeah.
much elegant way than I will ever.
So they go out in their little tug, and they're all in the mess downstairs eating, and he's just trying to sort of bring Jack up to some sort of like you're the part of Jack in this sense because you're being introduced to the dynamic. So you're the newbie in the environment, just like Jack. So you tend to empathize with Jack in this situation because you don't know the in jokes, you don't know the dynamics, you don't know who's who or what's what. You're just on board for the ride because
exactly, and he is playing the part so well, being the thrown up over the side of the ship person.
he gives you the full experience.
Yes, he does.
And you believe it. You got
I
no
fell
to.
for it.
Yeah, there's no reason not to at this point. You don't know anything about him other than he wants half of whatever the ship's worth, and they said no. I think I don't know. Anyway, he gets a cut from, I can't remember what it is, but he gets a cut from the boat, and he just wants them to bring it in so he can have his half. So you think. And
I think I started to get clued up when they found the gold,
and
he started laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a weird reaction. Laughing.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be laughing. I'd be like, gold.
It'd be more that at that point though, I think they literally crashed into the side of this cruise liner.
Oh, it literally appears out of nowhere while bloody he's listening to the worst new metal song I have ever heard in my life. Holy shit! What the fuck was that? Who the fuck was that?
Probably Limp Bizkit. No, it was something. I don't know.
Oh,
It was
shots
some
fired.
sort of, I'm not doing it again.
Don't put your do you dare get the finger guns out. Yeah, it was absolutely horrific. But they do it's like it. It's almost too easy that they found it.
It's like it was conveniently just suddenly there.
Placed there. And I think that's what Gabriel Byrne kind of gives the impression of.
Yeah.
Because he's like, tell me you see that. And he's like, shit, yeah. Yeah, I do see that. How am I seeing that?
Yeah, it's on his radar, then it's not on his radar, then it's on his radar, and then they're there.
They're in front of it.
Yeah. And this is where I think you appreciate the opening scene more for the cleanliness, because you are, from this point onwards, you are introduced to nothing but grime, dirt, rust, filth, rot, everything. You name it, you're seeing it. So though that opening scene, there's such juxtaposition between that and this, that's that part, that's why everybody looks so well put together as well, because it's clean and it's nice, and this isn't
manky.
They've done an amazing job with the set and the special effects.
They did. The set on this was, I've got to say, man, the palette that's used in this movie is very pleasing to the eye. From the opening with the cleanliness, the cleanness, the crispness, to the contrast of the dirty, the gritty, the rottiness of the ship. It is absolutely fantastic palette, and it is so pleasing.
So they all managed to get on board, except for, I think, 3 of them. I think Santos is still on the boat, Greer's still on the boat, and Ferryman's still on the boat.
Yeah.
But on the tug. And then the others have gone on to just get a lay of the land of everything, to see what's going on up there. And then that's when Murphy realizes what boat it is. And he's like,
I know this boat.
This is a huge score. You know, we need to get this in because this went missing. And it's like the Mary Celeste of its time, wasn't it?
Yeah, he explains the Mary Celeste, and it's a very good, interesting read. We go find out yourself. I've told too many stories tonight.
But yeah, and then they proceed to sort of get over it, a little bit excited, have a look around. Now, the minute, and I'm not joking here, the minute I find a Casio digital watch on a bloody boat that was supposed to be abandoned in 1960, I'll be like, I'm getting off now.
Out the door.
This is
not about this life.
Yeah, this is Casio watches were late 80s, early 90s, I think.
They still sell them today.
Yeah, but that specific style, I think, was late 80s, early 90s.
Fuck yeah, so, that was the creme de la creme of digital watching now.
Not only did they make keyboards for schools, they made watches.
Exactly.
And I was always jealous of anyone that had the Casio calculator.
Oh, shut up. I so wanted that.
Never
I got a Forever Friends one instead.
I think I had a really bad watch with 2.
I used to have brilliant watches growing up. I used to love having a watch. Baby G. Come on. Everyone had a Baby G. You had a Baby G?
I hate watches.
I love watches. I don't actually have mine on at the moment, but I love watches. I used to have that. Fossil watches then became my thing. So every time I went to Florida, I would always buy a brand new Fossil watch, and I had some of the most eccentric Fossil watches. My sister actually has a very, very rare Nightmare Before Christmas Fossil watch. The strap has been changed so many times, but the face itself is perfect. It's only about a big, and it's just a little Jack Skellington head in the middle with his arm going around, and it's so dainty, and it's like a limited edition. I used to get big fucking chunky obnoxious, I've got a leather strap watch.
You'll never see me wear a watch. I don't even
I do.
And there's only one watch I used to wear, and that was given to me by Stephen Mulhern.
Okay.
Oddly enough, it was a watch, and it had a centerpiece that you popped out, and it was a digital watch, but it turned into a yo-yo, and then you put it back in, and it's got the CITV logo on it from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Multi-purpose watch, man.
Yeah, I was very popular because they were rare as rock and all shit. It's somewhere else in my house, but Yeah, going back to that, I used to work, as most of you know, at Butlins as a red coat, and Stephen was the youngest member of the Magic Circle at the time, and he was coming on doing his magic show, and it was when he was doing with Holly, and they were on TV quite a lot at that point.
Yeah.
Not the Stephen you know now. This is Stephen from 25 years ago, and he used to get me to do his opening for him every time he came. We used to go out and get very, very drunk, and I always used to have to do the walk of shame back because I'd sleep on his sofa because we'd all get drunk. There'd be like loads of us going out, and he just the nicest man back then. Can't count for him now because don't know him now, but back in 25 years ago, he gave me a watch, and yeah.
What is your life?
I often question.
It's fucking
Brian will back
crazy.
you up on that one as well. For those of you who've not met Brian, Brian is lovely, and go and watch the Superman episode with these guys.
Watch it. So good.
Nerdy on the main channel with the lovely Brian. I've known him for 25 years. 25, Brian. 25 years.
I think you mentioned it as well.
25.
Yeah, I had some very obnoxious watches because, you know,
It was
leather
never
strap.
something I can't. It's not that I don't like tight things around my wrist. It's nothing like that. It's because I work on a keyboard all day. So I can't stand having something here when I'm trying to type.
It's weird because my watch is charging right now, but I always have my watch on, and you'll notice because my watch is just about to die as we're recording this, you always see me go like this and shake my hand because my wrist is vibrating. I'm just not doing it now. I took it off in advance. I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna take it off. And I have a lovely my watch place is lovely around where it doesn't interfere with my tattoos either.
Well, there you go. It was me.
But there you go. There you have it.
Yeah, the minute I see a fucking Casio watch on a fucking
out of there
in the middle of nowhere,
get me out. Yeah, so they discover the watch, and then they discover the gold. The gold.
Well, I think at this point the boat's exploded. Santos is dead. They're stranded on the boat, and they can't.
Oh, that's right. Santos is gone. Sorry,
So
Santos.
it's an Jack needed on the boat. They wouldn't let him on the boat, so Jack needed to. I don't know. Something happened. What do I call it?
Santos
series of
conveniently
events
died.
that led to some nonsense and the boat blowing up, and Greer and Jack ended up in the water so that they could be brought onto the main boat.
Because they have to be on the boat.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't think that makes Santos count in that respect, does it?
No, I don't, but he does because he's there later on. But maybe he's just in close proximity. Maybe he got blown onto the boat.
Yeah, you just didn't see that. So yeah, they're stranded on the boat, and they all decide to go on like a mission around just to see if they can get the boat.
They split up.
Of course they do.
Movie horror tropes.
They all split up and they go for a walk around to see if they can get the boat moving, if it's seized, can they get it going, all this sort of thing. And yeah, it starts to get some fucky shit happens. You've got Greer going off on his own. You got Munda and Dodge that go and eat the food. Greer goes and drinks. Epps, she's still with Jack, I think.
She's still. He's kind of like. It almost feels like he's trying to get her on like aside in some way. He's trying to get to know her.
Yeah.
But she keeps seeing the ghost of a dead girl.
Mm-hmm.
Who she never gets to talk to until she does.
The dead wife.
The dead wife.
The dead wife.
The dead child.
This is where the bit where she falls in the swimming pool, which is empty, by the way, because she's in the swimming pool, and because she goes down in there because she sees something that catches her eye, and she realizes there's bullets and bullet holes in the swimming pool, and she's just like, what the fuck happened in here? And I'd be like, if that's not another reason to get the fuck out. I mean, I know there's no boat anymore at this point.
They are literally giving you several reasons to get the fuck out of Dodge.
And then she sees the ghost, and I'll be like, another reason why.
Reason number 3. Fucking leave. It's haunted. You could clearly tell it was haunted.
The fucking signals are no short of a siren at this point. And, yeah, it's just.
Give me a flare gun. Like, give me a flare gun. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And when she bashes her head, the swimming pool sucks the blood from her head.
Yeah.
Back into the tiles. And I was like, okay, this isn't a ship. This is an entity. This is something.
It's feeding.
Yeah,
It felt like it was feeding, but then it
it
kind of,
moves. Yeah.
but it gushes it out.
Mm,
So it takes it in and then more just gushes out. And I was
yeah.
like, okay, don't know what you are right now.
Yeah.
Not quite sure. When did she talk to dead wife?
Not yet. They find the gold because they
That's
all get
right.
really giddy over the gold. And at this point, weird things start happening. So they find the gold in a cupboard, and you see this beautiful old car, and they go into this weird cupboard, and there's loads of rats, and she gets actually it's the first time you see her lose her nerve over something. Like she gets a shock from the ghost girl, but she's not like petrified. The first time you see her get icked out and petrified is with the rats, so you know that rats is her like her thing.
Yeah, because she
And
tells you, I fucking hate rats.
yeah, because he starts laughing at her because he's like,
It
"What's
was
that
like
about?"
Indiana Jones. I don't like fucking snakes.
Yeah, and then he finds
So
the gold. So then they working out. They all come and have a look at the gold, and then they're all trying to work out what they're going to do with their cut of the gold. And
by
suddenly they
bathtubs.
forget that Santos is dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a bit sad. But when they recover the gold, they actually find out that it was retrieved from the Lorelei, and this
Mhm.
is a ship that is mentioned when he's talking about the Mary Celeste.
Yeah.
Creepy ships that just either disappear or their crew disappears and the ship just appears by
Mhm.
itself. But it was picked up on the Lorelei along with the sole survivor.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
And they, at this point, then you see Munda and Dodge eating the food they found in a tin, and we go to a Lost Boys kind of like moment there where they're stuffing their face thinking it's rice, and they're saying it's really lovely food, and it turns out that it's loads of like
Mm.
mealworms and stuff. And Carl Urban really does eat a mouthful of mealworms
Oh.
and starts spitting them out everywhere.
Oh, taking one for the team. When there's actually a moment where a picture of the sole survivor is shown and he's recognized, but he's not shown to us.
Mm-mm.
And when they go to
It's Murphy, isn't it, when he's having the conversation with the captain in the quarters because he sees the captain ghost, doesn't
yeah.
he?
Yeah, Captain Ghost helps him and
Mm,
kind of like gives him an indication. And and then when he goes to go and tell them, that's when he's confronted by Santos, the ghost of Santos.
yeah.
Which I just wish they did the ghosts a bit better. I just wish they did them a little bit better. And maybe because I'm spoiled because of the way Mike Flanagan did it in Haunting on Hill House. Maybe it's just I'm looking at that and trying to think, oh, could you have done something very similar to that? But hey, it's like 20 odd years later. No, they can't. Um, so yeah, Santos provokes him into a fit of rage, and this is where they actually think he's gone mad. So they lock him up in they end up finding him
But I
drowned
think
later on.
just before this one, I think Greer, he hit his head when the ship exploded, the tugboat exploded. But he goes and gets pissed after they find all the gold. And
Yeah. It's
he goes
kind of
and
indicated he's a recovering alcoholic.
yeah, so what they're saying in this film is it will find your Achilles heel and it will exploit it, the boat. So
Yeah.
with Murphy, it was alcohol. With Greer, it's lust. Uh,
Hmm.
he was basically the ship showed him the Italian beautiful songstress,
And
and
he fell for it.
he fell for it, and he knew that she was a ghost because
Hook, line, and sinker.
he even says it's not cheating if she's a ghost.
He's pro. Fuck off, Isaiah Washington.
And then she proceeds to lead him, and he falls down a lift shaft and dies. Oh
Bye
dear,
bye.
never
Bye
mind.
bye. See you later.
Um, but as she turns, there's a homage to The Shining because
There
you
is.
see her true form at that point, moldy old lady form, as someone called it on my comments on a post I made the other day about The Shining, the moldy old lady.
Yeah.
Mm,
There's also another the it was my note here. I'm gonna just read it. It says the film was allegedly conceived as The Shining on a cruise liner.
yeah.
So in The Shining, the character Wendy Torres says, like a ghost ship, when the manager Ullman tells her how the deserted the Overlook Hotel will feel when the guests and staff have gone away. It's
Mm.
quite a few little things, but yeah, the whole grotesque lady. And when I say hook, line, and sinker, you know what I mean in a minute.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Um, And now at this point, all you've got left is Dodge and Munda. Oh,
What a
Munda.
name.
Jesus. Dodge and Munda, and you've got Epps, and you've got Jack. They're the only 4 that are left at this point. Murphy drowned.
Murphy drowned. They didn't save him in time, and
they didn't realise that the water would fill up in there. Because at that point, I think Jack and Epps had gone into the washroom part or down into the bottom, and they'd opened a door and all the dead bodies washed out on top of them.
Yeah.
And that then opened the floodgates to then drown Murphy, but they didn't know that that was going to happen. So she inadvertently killed him, but she never realised that. And you then become very aware that the dead bodies that are in that area are pretty new.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah, they're not aged like what they probably should be.
Yes, they're not 1960 skeletons at the bottom. They are mouldy.
They should be dust, to be honest with you, if
Yeah.
they're from 1962, especially
There's-
with the conditions.
Yeah, they are very, very new, bloated bodies, basically.
Oh,
So they then her and Jack then rush up to find Dodge and Munda to tell them, you know, what's going on. And that's when they find Murphy dead. And then they then discuss like what to do next and how the hell they're going to get moving and stuff like that. Because Jack just keeps pushing at this point. Jack takes a turn. He takes a turn. His attitude and his whole persona, that the act is slowly slipping.
Yeah.
And he's just so intent on getting this boat going and getting gold off the boat. And do you know what I mean? This is his. I've got to do this. I've got, and no matter what, at what costs, I don't care. I just got to do it. And so this is where she separates herself again, and
she does, because
Katie.
she finds Katie, and this is where Katie explains what happens.
Yeah, Katie shows her, doesn't she? She touches her and shows her absolutely everything that led up to the incident and who's responsible.
Yeah. So I'll read back what it says. So the sole survivor of the Lorelei convinced Graza crew members to murder their passengers, as well as the captain and officers, for the gold. After murdering the passengers, so you get to see the scene with the singer, so the ballroom, you get to actually see all them dead as well.
Poison in the soup, wasn't it?
That's right. After murdering the passengers, they turned on each other, and Francesca, who is the singer, killed the officer who survived. The mastermind behind the massacre killed Francesca by releasing a hook that slashed her in the neck. Actually goes right up her.
Yep. And that was an homage to Black Christmas, 1970.
Love that then.
Yeah.
And the person who did this to her is revealed to be none other
than Jack Ferryman.
Thank you.
The ferryman.
Ferryman. Who is actually a demonic spirit of a deceased sinner tasked with provoking people to sin before killing them and bringing their souls to hell. Yes,
because clean souls he cannot take, hence why Katie's there as a ghost. Because he couldn't take her. He couldn't.
She's an innocent.
So she shows piece by piece by piece how they all died and how the crew hung her. Because she was on her own. She was travelling to meet her parents from one place to another because they went on ahead. Because that shit used to happen.
It did.
But all the crew took her and hung her in her quarters. Which, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And so you see her dead body. You see, like, all of this stuff. And you see bit by bit what happened. And the fallout after the bisection decapitation scene at the beginning, and you see them all discover the gold, get greedy over the gold. You see, like you say, you see Francesca get skewered, but just before that happens, you see her kissing Jack, and then you see Epps and Katie watching the whole thing. But again, it's done with no words. It's all done with like a musical kind of.
It's so good. It's like a montage.
Yeah, but she's watching it unfold from her point of view in real time. It's cleverly done.
It's really done, but it's a motherfucking montage. Montage. Yeah, it's really good. Honestly, it does help, because up until then it is. I felt I didn't know where this was going,
Mm.
is the ship just really fucking angry?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's kind of like explains that it's a person, a demonic spirit, who's come to collect his souls.
And
Um,
he's using the boat as a holding cell
yeah,
for all the souls that he was collecting to pay his toll, because if he doesn't pay the piper,
doesn't pay the ferryman.
he himself will have to pay for his sins in hell, because the deal that he made was that he has to harvest X amount of souls to keep himself from hell, to stay on the
Yeah,
mortal plane, basically. And if he doesn't meet his quota, he then has to go down to hell and get tortured. So that's where we are. He's got a whole boat full of ghosts because he keeps luring people in and
with the
killing them.
gold. Because
Yeah,
gold, it will, greed will bring out the best of people.
yeah. Basically, they wanted to name him after, is it Charon, the Greek spirit who ferries people across the river Styx?
I'm
Uh,
gonna say yes and
yeah,
hope that I'm right.
he's the one that takes that you have to pay the coins and he takes you across the Styx to Hades.
Hmm.
Um, but also something they did that was really, really clever in this was a lot of the paintings and murals you see in the background were of the ferryman and Katie, but you didn't quite
Oh,
notice. It was the story
no.
being played out. Everyone you saw was a point of time, but you were
Huh.
being fed it in your subconscious and not being directly shown it, if you know what I mean. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
obvious. So I thought that was really, really
that's really
clever.
clever.
Um, yeah, it's a, like I say, all of the tools are there with this film, all of
Yeah.
them, and it should have worked. It
It
should
should
work,
it should have, but there's certain things that let it down
like
because
this fake ending.
oh good God.
The
I'm
fake out
sorry.
ending, I think, is what really let it down.
Oh, hey, I could have dealt with that ending if that fucking song didn't play over the top of it. That was terrible choices.
The fake ending for me was so, when you watch the behind the scenes of it, and they do a couple of talks, they do the CGI, they do the special effects, and they do lots of interviewing with the maquette people, so miniature makers. And when they were talking to the guys about the CGI guys about how they did this end scene, they were like, "Oh, we really want to make it look like you wouldn't even know CGI has been used." In what fucking world does that not look like CGI was? Even in 2002, how do you expect it not to look like CGI was being used when you had spirits disappearing into the ether from a boat sinking, like, and they were all glowing blue?
Yeah,
So I
stop.
mean,
Just
it's
stop.
like that for me really, really let it down. And
Yeah.
the fact that she managed to hit that fucking trigger point with a harpoon gun, I'm like, good on you, girl, but fuck off. Just fucking way.
Fucking
No,
no.
no. Let's be
No.
honest. No, no,
No.
no. You're not Hawkeye. This ain't Marvel. It's
No,
not.
you're not. I mean, in the end, everyone dies but her.
Yes, basically, even Jack dies, and all the spirits get released, and the souls get released
Shh.
that he has collected. So he is now in the world of pain, down where he should be for
At
all
least we,
eternity.
at least we think he is.
Exactly. And all the spirits have been released. Even little Katie, she can trundle off to the spirit world
Trundle.
because she led Epps to safety. So Epps swam away, and they found her and recovered her in the water. And you see,
Let's be
the last,
honest, she would have died quicker than Jack and the Titanic in
oh
that
god,
water, by the way.
there's not enough room on that bloody door. They would have, they would have, they a boat picked her up basically and brought her back to shore. So the last part of the scene is you seeing her being loaded into an ambulance, and then
Along with the gold is being taken onto the new ship and it's
mhm.
being overseen by none other than Jack himself.
And as the film
Dun, dun,
ends,
dun.
the doors slam and she screams, "No!" And then you get the really cheesy 90s new metal.
That
Dun,
already happens as the reveal takes place
dun,
because I'm like, oh,
dun.
it's
Really
so
bad,
bad. It's
really
so
bad.
bad. Oh, it's terrible. And then the film ends, and I just wonder, what the fuck have I just watched? Do you know what? I did try to watch it on Monday night and I fell asleep.
like I say, it has a soft spot for me because I've been watching it for the last 23 years, like off and on. It's always like it's like, I wouldn't say guilty pleasure because I'm not ashamed to watch it, so I don't feel
No,
guilty.
but
But it's one of those films that it's an easy watch for me, and if I fancy something a bit familiar, I'll put it on
I
because it's
get
easy.
it.
Yeah,
I totally get it because there's so many films of this kind of styling
yeah,
that I would say I would go back over
yeah,
because of nostalgia of when I used to watch. Because this is all we had then.
yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I totally understand. I just never want to watch that again.
Yeah, plus I had it on VHS, so it was an easy thing. I could always just get it out. Like I used to have an extensive VHS collection.
Yeah.
I didn't go out much when I was a lot younger, and I just used to buy VHSs. Bearing in mind, they were bloody expensive.
Hey,
Box sets were disgusting.
I am trying to put together my my DVDs. Sorry, my laptop is stuck on my knee. I'm trying to put together my DVDs that I used to own back in the day.
Mm.
I just want them back. I want them back. Yeah, I get it. I get the reason why we did this movie. One, because it's part of what we've done last year, and it feels nice to end that chapter now of Dark Castle. Bye,
Bye.
bye, bye. See you later. Down a beer. Um, but yeah, I'm all out. Did you do your 666 degrees of separation, Jake?
Yes, is
Okay,
the answer.
okay, okay. I'm interested.
Okay. Emily Browning plays Katie in Ghost Ship. She is also known for playing Baby Doll in Sucker Punch alongside Jenna Malone.
Oh
Jenna played
yeah.
Jenna played Gretchen in Donnie Darko alongside Mr. Patrick Swayze as Jim.
Oh, the
Patrick
sweetest.
Swayze was an uncredited dancer in the video for Rosanna by Toto. Meet you all the way.
Yeah, Rosanna.
The lead singer of Toto is Joseph Williams. His most famous song was the Gummy Bears theme tune. And he's also the son of John Williams, the composer. John Williams
Yes.
has composed more than 120 themes to movies including Jaws, Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, Star Wars, and the anthem Somewhere in My Memory from Home Alone, which was directed by Chris Columbus, who also directed Adventures in Babysitting. Thank you.
You got there with John Williams.
And
Wow.
Toto.
Fuck yeah, I know.
Patrick Swayze's in there as well.
The sways.
Oh,
Don't.
yes.
I swear to God, if you bring them finger guns back out
There
again.
was no guns. There was no guns.
That looked like there was nearly a gun.
There was a finger crack. I did this. I redeemed myself.
That was really impressive. I like that one. I like the fact that John Williams is in there, the Sways is in there. You even managed to get the fun fact about Toto's singer being related to John Williams because that was a mind-blowing fact that came out last year.
The Gummy Bears theme tune.
That
Gummy
again.
bears bouncing here and there and everywhere.
So
High
good.
but that's beyond compare.
They are the gummy bears.
Don't
Yeah.
demonetize this, please. If
Please
we are
don't.
monetized at all.
Not for gummy bears. I'm not getting fucking done for gummy bears. Fuck that. That was fun. I get this. I get this feel of these movies and the time period that they come from. These are the movies that we grew up with. Like this is our kind of era of horror. So I'm happy to do them again. Just not this one. Ever.
Okay.
Ever. I can't like next week.
Mm.
Next week is clouded in mystery and suspense and secrecy because we're not telling you what it is.
No, we actually have it. It's not like we're pretending we don't know what we're pretending there's something and we don't know what we're doing. We actually do know what we're doing, but we just need to make sure.
Shh. Don't break it.
It's a secret.
It is a secret. You will have to find out through our promotions.
And you will it's
It's gonna be good.
okay. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Yeah. So this has been Go Ship. Next week's a big fucking secret. I don't know how else to say it.
I'll
It's
do.
not like you remember when you went away and we generally didn't know what we were doing from week
Oh,
to week
yeah.
because we were recording like 2 episodes a week. It's not like that.
No. This is, we have it penciled. It's ready to go. We're just not gonna count our chickens until it's done because
We're not fucking jinxing it, is what we're trying to say.
no. So
No.
yeah. So it's
Cool.
a big one.
Yeah,
I'd
it is.
say. It's
I'd
kind of
take the
up
big
there.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. So this episode goes out on the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel at 8 o'clock on a Monday morning. If you hit the notification bell, you will be notified that the episode is now available. This episode also goes up on audio, on all audio platforms later on Monday. Don't know what time, it's just whenever I do it. It's usually about 3 o'clock. Who knows? But if you are subscribed to us, you will be notified as well when it becomes available for your listening pleasure. The links for Bleeding Marvelous, Monsters Up North, and Nerdy Up North are where, Dan?
Down there.
Your nails are so
Down
beautiful.
It's Goo. It's Ghostbusters Goo. Return of the Ooze, Electric Boogaloo 2. That one.
I like it. I like it.
Thanks.
Mine
Thanks.
is, I lost all mine. They're gone. Lost them.
Bye.
Bye, nails.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. If you are on YouTube, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, as I've just said. What
Ding,
else?
ding.
Is that it?
Yep.
Shut up.
Okay.
Have I really just like kind of shortened this down? Like, because normally it takes us forever to end something. I've
No,
ruined
you done
it.
it.
I've ruined it again, haven't I?
I'm
Darn it.
saying nothing.
Darn it. Well, if there's nothing else left to say goodbye, Dan.
Don't be a dick. Goodbye.
Stay spooky, everyone. Bye.